Well, hello everyone. Hi Jay. I see a lot of old friends here. It's great to be in Los Angeles. You know, Yogananda chose Los Angeles, you all know this, as his home base outside of India. And he said that Los Angeles was the Benares of the West. Benares is considered one of the holiest cities in India. And this may be a little hard to believe, but he said underneath all the glitz and glitter, there is a very profound, deep vibration of spirituality. So try to feel that, because it's here. So I want to start by sharing with you one of the many great stories from Autobiography of a Yogi, which, as Narayan said earlier, this is the 100th year of its 70th year of its publication. And this is a story, true story, of Alexander the Great. And Alexander the Great, for those of you who know a little bit of history, was one of the great world conquerors. Started in Macedonia, in northern Greece, conquered all the city-states of Greece, moved across Persia, conquered the great Persian Empire, which was the greatest empire of its time. I see some friends who are Iranian who are nodding. And acquired great wealth everywhere he went, and he kept pushing out and pushing out. Finally, across southern Afghanistan into northern India, he reached India. And when he reached India, he heard about these great yogis and holy men, and he wanted to meet them. So he sent one of his ambassadors to this man he had heard about, whose name was Dandamis. And when the ambassador, the lieutenant, found him, Dandamis was just reclined under a tree, just blissful, relaxed, totally centered within himself. And this lieutenant said to him, "The son of the god Zeus, known as Alexander, who is the Lord of all humanity, commands you to come before him. If you comply, he will give you great riches. If you refuse, he will cut off your head." And Dandamis, this is recorded by the Greek historians, that's how we know the story. He didn't even get up from his comfortable bed of leaves under the tree. He sort of looked up and he said, "I too am a son of Zeus, if Alexander is one." And he said, "I have no need for any of the things he could give me. I'm totally contented in a simple life. Moreover, I look at Alexander and all I see is a very restless man who travels from country to country, killing and conquering, but never finding happiness." He said, "You tell Alexander if he wants to talk to me, he can come to me." And Alexander the Great was so intrigued by this answer that he in fact did come and talked with Dandamis and studied under many great yogis. And so this story is both instructive and powerful because it's such a dramatic contrast between worldly power and wealth, because Alexander was the most powerful, wealthy man of his time, and contrasting that with the simplicity of being happy within yourself. And this, in a way, is the good launching place, because Yogananda says that happiness is not a thing. It is not a possession. It is not a situation or condition in our life. Happiness is a state of mind that must be lived. And that's a very important statement, because we keep waiting. When this gets settled, and when that gets settled, and when this person is in my life or out of my life, when my job situation is better, then I will be happy. But if happiness is a state of mind that must be lived, then we have to begin analyzing, as Jyotish has been doing as well. What is it? What are these choices? The choices that in our life will lead us to happiness and avoid suffering. Well, I think the first one that we can touch on is this contrast between Alexander and Dundamas, between restlessness and calmness. And you know, the world we live in, and the teachings of yoga say that we have reincarnated many, many times, and that we have chosen to be born in this time of whichever time we happen to be alive in, but our karma draws us back to a particular time and place. And here we are in an extraordinarily restless time where the complexity of media and devices and communication is overwhelming. But this is a choice. We can choose to let them move us along in the stream of never-ending multitasking and complexity, or we can choose, okay, I'll use my computer, my devices, all of those things. And of course they're useful, essential in many ways. But we can choose to say, now I put down the remote, now I turn off my cell phone, now I shut off my computer. And just as Dundamas, now I seek that center within myself. I know the very first time I ever meditated, and I knew nothing. Something in me, and it must have been from a past life, said, I want to meditate. And I had a friend who was already meditating, who had received some instructions. I was in college at the time, and so we were on campus. This was University of Wisconsin in Madison, Wisconsin. And we went to a little church on campus, and I knew nothing. I had no training, instruction. I didn't even know what you were supposed to do. But I sat down in this church, and I just sat very calmly and quietly for just a little while. And all of a sudden, in that moment of calmness, I felt this joy welling up inside of me. And we walked out, and I said, oh my God, it's all inside of you. That's all you need to know. And my friend, who had instruction but hadn't had that experience, said, oh, no, it's not that simple. You have to study, you have to do this and this and this and this. And it took me a long time to realize he didn't know what he was talking about. Because it is that simple. If you just clear off the clutter, Yogananda ji said, we are all like diamonds, our true nature, but we're covered with mud. And and that mud is restlessness, static, all of those things which prevent us from feeling that joy within us. And so we have to make the choice, restlessness or calmness and centeredness. And we have to make that choice all the time. I know, and you become more sensitive to it if you begin the practice of meditation and you begin touching that calmness within you. When you get to a point, whatever you're doing, friends, activities, where you just feel, I'm losing the joy of my own center, then you say, time to stop, time to get up, go out in nature, go for a walk, relax, whatever it might be, listen to relaxing music. But the joy of your own being is the most precious thing you have. And in a sense, it's all you have. Everything else will go. Everything. But the joy of your own being is constant, always available. You just have to look for it in the right places. And so restlessness versus calmness. Another choice we have to make if we want. Happiness is not a thing, it is a state of mind that must be lived. And that's whether we want to live in a state of critical attitudes, negativity, or seeing the possibilities in life. Jyotish and I and others have the extraordinary good karma and wonderful life opportunity of being lifelong students of Swami Kriyananda, who started a worldwide movement based on Yogananda's teachings from a little apartment in San Francisco. And he was a direct disciple of Yogananda, so trained by him personally. But he just saw these teachings have such a potential as a way of life. And we weren't funded with lots of money. It was step by step. But what he did for me was he opened my eyes to seeing the possibilities in life. Not, oh, well, this might be hard, this might not work. In fact, once, because we were with him a long time, there were some younger people and they wanted to start a project. And we were talking with Swamiji about it. And we said, you know, it's really not going to work. We've tried that, it doesn't work. And Swami got very strong with us. He said, you might know it doesn't work, but if you rob them of the opportunity to learn it for themselves, you take away a good lesson from them. So let them, and maybe it'll work for them. Let people explore. Let yourself explore the potential of life. To look at opportunities. Yoganandaji said, there are no obstacles. There are only opportunities. And you know, so many examples of that. Again, Thomas Edison, when he was working to discover the filament that could be used in the electric light bulb, he tried thousands and thousands of different elements. None of them worked. And people would say, give up, it's not possible, just let it go. And you failed. And he said, no, I haven't failed. I've just found thousands of ways that don't work. And so it is, you can approach life with caution and say, well, I'm not sure. You can approach other people with caution. I'm not going to be too open to people because what if they hurt me? Well, what if they do? There's nothing that really can be hurt if you really know the center of your own being, if you know the center of your own joy. So just to live life with enthusiastic possibilities. And that's a choice. And even if you fall flat on your face, and in my life at Ananda, which has been coming on to 45 years, we've fallen on our face a lot of times. We tried projects that were a failure, but we had so much fun doing it and continue to. And so to choose, if we want to be happy, you have to choose the positive current. Another thing in living it is don't be so dependent on things, but live in a sense of, try if you can, freedom. Jyotish mentioned this fire that we had that burned down everything we owned. Well, we had a nice house, we had beautiful everything. A little baby room all set up with a little blanket and crib. Boom, all gone, nothing left, nothing. But it was so marvelous, honestly, and I'm not saying this in kind of a, being in a state of denial, but I wouldn't have changed that for anything, because in that moment, there was a battle going on within me. The battle to be defeated, the battle to go in despair, to say, oh my God, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen, or the battle to rise above all that. And I realized that if I wanted to give our new child a sense of home and security and well-being, if it didn't exist in my heart, it wasn't going to exist anywhere outside. And this inner freedom came, just like it's all inside, and we can be happy with nothing. And the child that was born, that grew up, that is now a 40-year-old man, you know, I think that formed who he was, because he is just so free in himself and so unattached to what he has or doesn't have. But look at the things in your life, and particularly look at the things that, oh my God, if I lost that, that would be bad. And just play a game with yourself and say, what if I did lose it? What would happen? How would I regroup? What would be my next step? And just to find that freedom that says, I don't need anything. It can all be taken away. I remember once we were driving with Swami. We were going up skiing up to Lake Tahoe, and it started snowing. We were going over the pass that leads to Donner Pass, that leads to I'm losing my scarf here. Donner Pass that leads to the ski area. And it started snowing really hard. And then all these signs came up that said, put on chains, put on chains. So Ananda was driving at the time, and so he started to hit the brakes to put on chains, but the car went into a tailspin on the icy roads. It was spinning and spinning. There were about 5 of us in the car. And big buses, Greyhound buses, had pulled off to the side already. And so we spun around, and we crashed into a Greyhound bus. The car was totaled. Fortunately, nobody was hurt at all. But Swami Kriyananda got out of the car, looked at what had happened, and he looked up at the bus and he said, "Oh wow, this is going right to where we were going." So he said, "Let's just get our stuff." And so we called AAA and they towed the car away, and we got on the bus, and the people who had seen this said, "Oh, what a pity, you've lost your car," and la la la. And Kriyananda said, "You know, in a week, I'd feel just fine about this. Why waste a week?" And in fact, we went up and everything worked out. It always does, no matter how bad it seems. Well, I could tell you many stories about that, but we don't have all that much time. But so not to be dependent on things. Another, living a state of happiness, and this is so prevalent and so self-defeating, is to live in a state of self-pity. Oh, well, I can't be happy because look at this happened to me. My parents were divorced, or, I didn't have a good education, or whatever it might be. They took advantage of me at work, and, whatever it might be. But the more we feel sorry for ourselves, this is denying our own potential to overcome. And Yogananda said, there is no test that is given to us, no matter how hard it is in our life, that we don't have the power to overcome. And we get the test so that we can prove to ourselves, hey, I could handle that. And what a wonderful freedom and happiness comes from that. But if you sit around saying, oh, I wish this person didn't act like that, or if only they would be more reasonable, and poor me, and I have to work with this person and they're so terrible. The more we think like that, we're denying our own ability to overcome. And we have that ability. And don't let anybody take it away from you, because your own inner happiness and your own inner strength, they go hand in hand, hand in hand. And it's the strength within you that enables you to say, I will not be defeated by whatever happens in this life. And it's such a releasing experience. When I was recently in a situation where I was having some meetings with some people, and one of them was very difficult and confrontational, and at first I was saying, why can't they be different? And then I just thought, this is so good. The only way I'm going to get through this is to find a level of strength and detachment that is going to get me through it. And I found it. And it was like, whoa, that's done. And so don't feel sorry, not self-pity, but much, much more the ability to overcome whatever happens. And then finally, if happiness is not a thing but a state of mind that must be lived, we need to understand that there is, instead of living a life based on worry and anxiety and fear, what if this happens? Oh my gosh, this could be the worst thing. To begin to develop a faith in a higher power that's really in charge of it all. There was a great woman saint of India, Ananda, who's mentioned in Autobiography of a Yogi. And during the partition of India and Pakistan, some of her disciples came to her and said, oh, Mother, this is going to be so terrible. You must stop this in whatever way you can. And she said, she withdrew and she said, I will go meditate. She was a great saint, many miracles associated with her. Her name, Ananda means the joy-filled mother. And so she went away and then came back after some time. And she said, don't you think he who created this universe knows how to run it? And that's all she said. And it was karma that had to be played out, the separation, the partition between Pakistan and India. But in your own life, try to, whatever happens, try to refer it. If you have belief in God, it's easier. But if you don't, try to just see a bigger picture. Everything that if you just study the physical world around you, it is this, even a drop of water, or the pictures that are coming back from Hubble, when you look at these extraordinary constellations and galaxies, how could there not be a divine intelligence that's guiding all of this? And one time someone said to Yogananda, but if God is infinite, how could he possibly care about my happiness? One little drop in the bucket. And Yogananda's answer was perfect. He said, your concept of infinity is too small. God is both infinitely large and infinitely small. He resides in your own heart, and as that being so, his highest aim is for your happiness. So if we can work and live in such a way that we feel an unseen partner with us, no matter what happens, there always is. There always is. And we just need to improve our awareness of that. So how do we do that? Well, all of these things we've been talking about, it's very simple, and yet not easy. The most important thing is to begin a practice of meditation. We have wonderful classes at our center here in Los Angeles, but meditation, everything we've been talking about, finding the calm center, to act with positive energy, to not be have an inner freedom, to not dwell in self-pity, to be aware of a greater being, a greater consciousness in the universe. All of these things can be found through the practice of meditation. And it doesn't have to be hours and hours. 5 minutes a day. It's surely an investment to find true happiness. And Yogananda said many years ago that the practice of meditation and of Kriya Yoga, which is his most advanced technique of meditation, literally changes the molecular structure of the brain. When he said this decades ago, no one took him seriously, or if they did, there wasn't scientific validation for it. But now neuroscientists are finding that meditation does change the brain. It enhances the areas of the brain that are positive, solution-oriented, able to make decisions, all of those things. And it diminishes those parts of the brain where anxiety and fear and worry are activated. So it's the tool for everything we've been talking about. And I'll go into this just briefly. Not only does it change the molecular structure of the brain, but positive lifestyle, including meditation, positive thinking, and so forth, it changes our DNA, which gets passed down to our children. It's science of epigenetics. You can go online and read this for yourself. It's amazing. So if we want to really find the way to true happiness, we need to begin seeing it as the art of living, to live in the ways that lead to that kind of happiness. Swami Kriyananda, our teacher, who passed away in 2013, said, happiness is not a reward. It is the solution. So it isn't like if you do everything right, then you get to be happy. It's a choice that's made moment by moment, day by day, year by year. And when you look at people that are happy, don't look at them wistfully and say, oh, they're special, they're different, I could never be like that. We're all the same. We all face the same challenges, maybe in different forms. But I remember once reading a little brief story of a man who was just an amateur runner who ran the New York Marathon. And he was so proud of himself, although he was extraordinarily stiff and sore the next day. And he was at the airport flying home with his wife, and they saw the man there waiting for his plane who had won the marathon, world-class runner. And his wife very wisely said to him, dear, he's just as sore today as you are. So the process of seeking and working towards happiness, everybody gets sore. It tests our emotional, mental, spiritual muscles. But without that, we're always having our nose pressed against the window of life. And oh, if only, oh, if only. Don't live that way. Say, why not? Why not me? If happiness is possible, I'm going to fight for it. And I'm going to claim it in my own life. So this is the message that Yogananda brought. Happiness is our birthright. Awaken to who you really are. For those of you who have been with us in other programs, well, we've done this before, but now it's your time to give back. Not money, not anything like that, but with your goodwill for the world. Yogananda gave a beautiful prayer for world peace and harmony. And Jyotish and I have been touring, we just got back 3 weeks ago, touring all over India, many, many different cities, many different groups, in Europe as well. And we always end with this prayer, Yogananda's prayer for world peace and harmony. And we ask you, this is your payback for coming tonight. So what this is, we'll repeat together about 10 times. I'll lead us, but we say it together. Lord, fill this world with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. And then after completing that, we pause and get centered, and then we say, Lord, fill me with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. So I'm going to ask you, sit up, close your eyes. Basic meditation instruction, concentrate at the spiritual eye, the point between the eyebrows. And feel what we have shared together this evening. A sense of potential, a sense of goodness, a sense of unity and brotherhood with all. And feel that spreading out. Visualize our beautiful blue planet floating in space. And let's encircle it with our wishes for world peace and harmony. So let's repeat together. Lord, fill this world with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Lord, fill this world with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Lord, fill this world with peace and harmony, peace and harmony.
Lord, fill me with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Lord, fill me with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Lord, fill me with peace and harmony, peace and harmony. Lord, fill me.
Om, peace. Amen.
Peace gave us the mountains, peace gave us the sky. when starlight enfolds us, peace is its lullaby. Amen.
Peace gave us the morning, peace gave us the sun, bird songs that call us to welcome day and fresh labors begun. Amen. Peace gave us the seasons, peace gave us the rain, cool clouds that gather to bless us, mist hands that soothe away pain. Amen. Peace gave us our heart's love, peace gave us our smiles, rays of God's presence within us, light that all strife reconciles. Amen.
Sing with us on this last Amen together. Amen.
Thank you, Jyotisha Devi, for a beautiful satsang this evening. Also, in honor of Autobiography of a Yogi's 70th anniversary, we want to offer you another gift, and that is a free copy of the book. We don't have it. We have an electronic copy for you, and you can simply go to the website goyogananda.com, goyogananda.com, and you'll find the blue cover original 1946 edition in its entirety. And lastly, thank you so much for a deeply inspiring evening, and thank you all for your receptivity, and please enjoy some refreshments, and we hope to see you tomorrow. God bless you.
Life is a dream, time like a stream, carries our burdens away. Never despair, joys everywhere. Love can befriend you today. Free from all care, like birds on the air, soar above griefs and worries, seek joy and be gay. Often on earth, things of great worth, worldly draw nigh. Love is a star, though shining afar. It can guide us and help us toward light to draw